I'm just setting some balloons up, you guys. This is the street that my dad was killed on McGarrett and Maple. My dad was in the military as well, so I have a lot of phone calls to make for his service. But I'm setting up the balloons right here where he was killed at. Then I'll show you guys the street. Two cars hit my dad. So when I went to the police station and I spoke to the commanding officer, the first car that initially hit my dad was an older gentleman, and he pulled over, and my dad was already laying in the middle of the street. I'll show you guys. And a second car hit him, and it was a young lady. So he came from this store. He stepped out into the street. His body flew. The car kind of hit the street all the way down to that end of that street right there. So you could see the skid marks over there. And then their car kind of dragged all the way along the side of the sidewalk right here. So all the way to the end over there. So I'm setting up some balloons and flowers. Can you hand me the bag? Hold on, you guys. Let me turn it around. It's like a little thingy in the bag, that green thing. Thank you. And I got some flowers for him. Um, to put up here. And I have the little thingy so I can set it up. I might put it a little bit higher. It's more stable up there. Whew, you guys. My mind is going crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm like still in shock. I still have to tell my brother Aaron. And will you hold the camera for me? I still have to tell my brother Aaron. Like I said, I don't know how it's gonna go, since I guess I could just leave these on here. It's really not that big of a deal. I just want to set something up for him. So I was told that they did a breathalyzer on both of the people, the elderly man and the younger girl, and nobody was under the influence of alcohol. They took a blood test to make sure they weren't under any medication that impaired them from driving. So there's an investigation. The elderly man that hit him first, they have to like reevaluate his license to see if he's supposed to be driving. I wasn't told exactly how old the elderly man was. He had no cell phone. If you watch my last live, I was concerned with, was a cell phone distracting them, because my dad is a very tall man, like NBA type tall, you guys. I'll post pictures of him later. So I have a hard time, like I told the commanding officer, how did the first man that struck him, how did they not see him? How did he not see him? And so they're gonna get footage from the store that's right here, the Madera Market. I went in there and I talked to the lady. She's the owner, her and her husband. And she said she talked to my dad often. She talked to him for about 30 minutes before he left the store. Sweet man, she said. And she said she couldn't sleep all night because she was just so torn up about everything. She just couldn't believe it, you know. Like, none of us can, honestly. None of us can prevent, to be honest. And then I have a poster board. Oh, you guys. And it was a young girl, you know. Everybody had license, everybody had insurance. Not that it even matters, but things are handled differently when you don't have license, when you don't have insurance. And because they stayed on the scene and they cooperated with everything, you know, like there's no charges pending. And so as long as everything comes back normal in the other sense, I got these candles to put down there. Oops. I just want to do something for my dad, you know. He's already at the morgue, so I'm gonna call them after I do this to make those arrangements. So I'm gonna set these down there. Hold on. Somebody's on the phone, I think, on your phone. So I didn't want to put real candles, you know, trying to be environment friendly. And now I'm just gonna make a sign. And it's like right now everybody looks suspicious to me, you know. And I get it, like, hold on, you guys. I'm crying and I have sweat going to my eye because it's hot. I get it, but it's just like sucks. We live in California and the laws are different. Like, if you hit somebody and you kill them and you were licensed, you have insurance, you weren't under the influence of any narcotics, of alcohol, any prescription medication that impaired you from driving, then, and then also if you're elderly, the DMV does an exam, or like when you go to get your license, they will check to see if like the elderly man should have been driving. But because they cooperated, because they stayed on scene, there's no charges pending. There's, you know, they're not going to go to jail. And I have a hard time with that because obviously it's my father. Second of all, it was lit up. The store has lights, there's street lights. He wasn't walking in an area where it was like pitch black. Secondly, he's a big dude, very tall. Like, it's very hard to miss him if you're not on a cell phone, if you're not high, if you're not drunk. How do you miss a man that's over 6'2"? How? And they said the detective and the owner of the store said he literally, you know, looked before he crossed the street and stepped onto the street, and it was like it happened so quick. And he kind of lost control of the wheel and he stopped. My dad was already on the ground, and the car followed the younger girl that hit him. She, hit him after that. So he was hit twice. And they said that the second impact is what killed him. So it's very heartbreaking because my sister, my oldest sister died 6 months ago. If you go to my community board, you'll see a picture of her and the video of the Action News for her. My older sister died the same way. She was literally in the crosswalk crossing the street in my city, and a guy got off the freeway and he hit her and she died immediately. So it's like, it's very triggering. It's a messed up situation. Then literally 7 days after that, my older siblings, they're my half siblings, same dad, different mom, their mom died. So we've lost 3 people very dear to us in 6 months. 2 of them to literally them walking in the street and cars hitting them. It's like, it's unbelievable. Like, it's like literally like I'm in a nightmare. Like, what? And it's like, there's nothing I can do. That, I think that's the hardest part, is like, if they weren't under the influence. The second car was just kind of like, he was already on the ground. She couldn't see him, So, but the first car, it's just like, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around. How did you not see him? How did you not see him? I don't understand it. I really don't. And the officer told me that he didn't have, the elderly man that hit him didn't have a cell phone on him, because that was my question. Like, how do we determine if they were distracted? You can't. You're going off of somebody's word. How, if they nodded off, if they were just tired and they didn't see him and they hit him, like, there's no way to determine that. How do you, they say he didn't have a phone, but I mean, we all know we could hide a phone in our car. We all know, like, if you hit somebody and killed them and you were distracted with your phone, somebody's instinct is going to be to hide their phone so they can say, I didn't even have my phone. Like, you can't determine these things because there's no phone, there's no camera in your car to show what you were actually doing. There's no proof. We're literally taking this man's word that he just didn't see him. And they both get to walk this earth, but they both killed my dad. And I'm just having a hard time processing that I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to keep it together. I have my baby with me, so I can't. I have my baby with me now. He literally just woke up, so I'm going to make him a sign. I don't know exactly what I'm going to put on it yet, but I already put the balloons and the flowers up where he was struck on Madeira and Maple. But I told you guys I would update you, so that's what I'm doing. I've cried so much, you guys. I cried all night long, all morning. I cried driving my kids to school. I cried the whole way here. And it's like, it's almost like I wanted the officer to say, oh, they were intoxicated. Because if there's an excuse behind that, there's a reason, like, oh, they were drunk. Like, it was a drunk driver. But when you're being told, no, nobody was drunk, nobody was high, nobody was under the influence, nobody was none of these things, so you just hit my dad? Like, you weren't paying attention? Like, what was the reason? Like, there's lights everywhere. So I guess it's hard to accept it when there's no, like, excuse behind it. There's no reason. So I'm gonna make this sign, and I have to make some phone calls to the Moore Corner, whichever one it is. I really can't remember because his body is already there. I have to let them know that we're going to cremate him. And we can't get a hold of my older sister. Her phone's just going to voicemail, so we're not sure. She just lost her mom 6 months ago and her sister within a 7-day span, and now 6 months later she lost her dad. I can't imagine how she's feeling because she lost her mom and her dad and her older sister in 6 months. And my sister doesn't live here. My sister lives all the way in Sacramento. It's about 4 hours away from where I live. And I just hope that she's not freaking out, because this is like a freak accident. And no, nothing could have prepared us for this moment. Nothing. There's no warning. It's just you get that call and so I'm gonna do this board, make my phone calls, and I have to go tell my little brother. My mom doesn't want to be the one to tell him, so she wants me to tell him, and I don't want anybody else to tell him because they're not going to be there for him emotionally like I am, and he's already like not in his right state of mind, so we have to be careful. So I will update you guys. But this is my therapy. This is how I'm coping with it instead of just being a wreck. This is how I'm dealing with it, talking to you guys. And just kind of helps me. It's like my therapy in a way to process it, because my dad wasn't a perfect man and none of us are. But regardless, for some reason, girls love their dad, regardless of who they were. And so I know that it's hitting my sister really hard. She was his first daughter and her mom's second daughter. I know it's tough for her. So I just want to be able to be here when she gets here and emotionally support her. So, but I'm gonna I just don't have the words. Thank you guys so much. I don't know. It's just like, how do you deal with this? Like, how do you just let it go? Like, oh, it was an accident. How was it an accident? Like, explain to me how you didn't see him. Like, he's not this short little man. He's like LeBron James size, but more weight. Like, how? It's hard to miss him. But okay, I don't want to be on here crying too much, so I'm going to go ahead and get off because I'm about to do this sign.